Welcome back, Tribe. I have an episode here from Love Made Logical. It's a small channel with 12,000 subs. Go ahead and give them a look-see if you haven't already. Got a video here called 8 Charts That Will Change the Way You See Dating. And I bet you it's going to probably solidify all the instincts we have about dating apps and dating culture in general.
This is a chart showing how men perceive women's attractiveness. Looks pretty normal. Men tend to perceive women's attractiveness on a standard bell curve. On the scale of 1 to 5, the average is 2.83, with the most common rating being 8% are above the 4 and 17% below a 2. All pretty normal. And here is how women perceive men. Yeah, it doesn't look so good for men. Taking this at face value, only 1 in 6 men are above average in an absolute sense. And if we translate this plot to something more familiar, like IQ, then we have a world where women think 58% of men are brain damaged. When we dive a little deeper, though, it becomes clear this isn't a men are too ugly to date thing. It's a men are too ugly to hook up with thing. This is OkCupid, one of the biggest dating sites in the world. And this is Christian Rudder, the former CEO of the platform. In 2009, looking to promote the platform, Rudder and his team began to release data from the site, giving us an insight into what the dating market really.
By the way, the data these dating companies have must be absolutely insane. And a lot of them will gatekeep the data because they're messing with the numbers. There's a concept you need to understand. This is super important so you don't get demoralized. It's called chasing the dragon. It's what happens when you open up a new dating profile. They show you the hottest matches first, some of which are fake. They're just bots. The dating app companies know this. So then they get you excited, you get a dopamine rush, and then they turn the spigot off. That's called chasing the dragon. And they show you completely average looking women. What you're going to want to do, though, and then you even get matches that shows in your little counter. You have 1 or 2 matches, pay for premium so you can see them early. What ends up happening is they manipulate you into paying for premium so you could see your matches, but also you get to choose your matches, right? You get access to better matches. So the system is rigged anyways. Then what happens after the 24 hours, if you don't pay for the service, your profile gets hidden anyways. Your ELO is suppressed because there's a little score on your profile that you're given, and then you're suppressed and made invisible. So it's not that you're ugly. Sure, for some people it's true, but if you were using Tinder back in like 2012, you know, the early days of Tinder when it was purely a hookup app, like just matching the nearest person to you, it didn't have all this crazy algorithm. It wasn't like pay for play, basically. You could just use it for free. They weren't charging money for anything. The app was just growing organically through, word of mouth. You were getting matches left and right. There was no artificial roadblocks in front of you. If 2 people saw each other, you swiped right on each other, you got a match. It wasn't like your profile's being suppressed on purpose because they're trying to gatekeep all the good matches and make you pay for premium services. No. It was working. Even the ugly dudes were getting a ton of matches. They weren't quality, but a ton of matches were had. Now you can be a somewhat above average dude. Truly, you could be over the 50% mark and you will not get a match for months on end. And guys are getting demoralized because they're getting on these dating apps and they're going like, what the hell's wrong? I'm not ugly. I may not be a multi-millionaire, but I sure as hell can do better than 2 matches a month. What's happening? That's the dating app working against you because it wants you to spend money on super likes, on boosts, so you're more discoverable in there. It's all bullshit. It is against their profit motive to find a match for you. Because if they get you off the dating apps, if you're happy and you found somebody, they make no more money off of you. So keeping you lonely, keeping you isolated, making you feel bad about the fact that you can't get any matches, making you think that if you got these premium features, you would start getting quality matches, and then drip feeding you a match here and there on purpose to keep the dopamine hit right when you're about to quit using the app is their motto. That's how they make all the money. That is in their profit motive, in their interest. It's crazy, dude. Dating apps are shit today. They don't actually work how they're supposed to. Unless you are extremely attractive, then you basically bypass everything because they will then use your attractiveness to grab more users into the dating app itself. Like you'll be one of those first profiles that get shown. So when a woman signs up for Tinder, just imagine she's getting shown the top 0.1 percentile men, multi-millionaire, 6'6", abs, basketball, football players, sports actors, whatever it is in their general area. They'll get shown the top quality and they're thinking like, oh my God, these guys are so hot. And then you come along. Once the chasing the dragon effect is over, Mr. Normal Ted, Cubicle Carl. There's nothing wrong with you, but you just can't compete with the dude that makes $20 million a year, has private jets and all that other crazy shit. He's like a supermodel. It's dumb. The system is broken on purpose.
Really looks like behind closed doors. In 2014, he released the book Dataclysm, summarizing much of the data revealed by the site. Within the book, Rutter displays the differences between how men and women view each other's attractiveness on the site. But when asked about it in an interview promoting the book and platform, this is what he had to say.
Tinder, those curves move even further apart. Match, they move closer together. The male curve barely moves. It's really the female curve that moves around. The men kind of have the same curve on all three sites, and it's the female curve that moves around.
When OkCupid was acquired by the Match Group in 20, Rutter got access to the rest of the Match Group's biggest platforms' data, the two biggest of which at the time, Match.com and Tinder, give us a lot of insight into what's really going on here. Although charts or data were never posted, we can estimate based on what Rutter said. This is an estimate of how women perceive men on Match.com, and this is an estimate of how women perceive men on Tinder. We can see that for women, as the dating site becomes more casual in nature, the standards climb. Although people like to push the narrative that women are delusional and have too high standards, the data seems to say the relatively high standards are only for casual intimacy, which when you consider the additional risks women...
Beta bucks, alpha Fs. That's really what it is. Imagine what a woman will go for a one-night stand. She wants the most like alpha type qualities. He's got to have huge biceps. He's got to have a chiseled jaw. He's got to look like a complete stud in order for her to risk a one-night stand of potentially, like this picture showing her potentially getting pregnant, or it's just a guy she knows she can't keep because that dude is so damn handsome. He's got so many women after him. He makes a bad long-term partner. But if I'm going to risk having sex with a man for one night and potentially getting pregnant or an STD and all that, it has to be a mega Chad with a square jawline kind of thing. Likewise, if they're going to go for a guy that's more long-term, they want more safe beta qualities. You know, he's a bit more soft. He's more feminine. He has a decent job. He's kind of a pushover. That guy will never get the one-night stand because his value's not high and he's not worth the risk. He's the safe guy that will give me everything in a relationship without asking much. That's the dual mating strategy of women. It is real and it plays out in dating apps. So if you're going to use hookup apps, you have to maximize your profile for literally preem asshole status. That's what you have to do. You have to do everything they tell you don't do, do it. Take a selfie with your six pack. Do like nothing but narcissistic photos. Show your chiseled jawlines. Show yourself with two women on your arm. Show yourself partying and all that around other friends. Show money. Show status. Right? Show your body, your physique. All that. Women say like, nah, I want to see him with this family. That's when they're looking for the long-term guy. But we've all seen it. If you're that super attractive top 0.1%er, you could literally open up with, hey, come over to my place. And that guy has an insane response rate where women will go, yeah, okay, coming over. Hey, please don't kidnap me though. Mind blowing.
Take on with intimacy, the relatively high standards seem reasonable. Essentially, women are thinking, if I'm going to take the risk of a casual hookup, you better be attractive.
Yep.
The next question is
confirmed.
Then, what makes someone attractive? To answer this question, I'd like to bring forward a study from 2016, looking at what women look for in a speed dating context. The study started by giving women a list of 6 traits and asking them to assign points to each trait based on how important it was to them. The average distribution of points the women provided looked like this. All attributes given near even value. After completing the dates, the women were asked to assign the points to the men at the dating.
Let's see if you cannot negotiate attraction. Is that saying true or not?
Then, which men they were going to see again. This is the chart displayed.
There it is. We're all monkeys, boys. There's the revealed preferences. The largest one is physical attractiveness. Second comes fun. Third is mutual interest. Really, all you need is physical attractive and is he fun? The physical attractiveness already leads to fun because he could say the dumbest shit and she's going to be laughing her ass off. Just like the equivalent of a guy on a date with a girl and she says a joke and the guy just laughs because he's trying to get laid. That's essentially what happens. As long as he's not a dummy, which he most likely isn't because he's really hot. Okay, they're going to have a fun time and then they're going to have mutual interest because, oh my God, you like puppies too. And then the guy gets laid. Intelligence, nobody gives a shit. Ambition, does he have a job? I don't care. He's hot and he's fun and he likes puppies. Sincerity, that's is he sincere? Don't really care what's coming out of your mouth. I know you're probably lying to me, but you're so hot. That's what it is, bro. You cannot negotiate attraction. This is why rule 1 is lift. And it doesn't have to just be lift, guys. You need to get your body right for yourself first. But because this is what this chart's telling you is that there's no negotiating attraction. She's not going to love you for you. She's not going to love you for your personality. She's not going to love you because you're a sweet guy. and you're so caring. Is he hot? The same way we look at women and we go, is she hot? Yes or no?
Displaying the actual distribution of what was seen as important by the women
Yep.
at the event. Physical attractiveness was by far the most important attribute, with the amount of positive
Shocker.
responses and level of physical attractiveness having an astonishingly large correlation coefficient of 0.8. For comparison, the correlation coefficient between IQ and academic performance is 0.54. Think about that for a second. For those wondering, online dating shows an even stronger correlation, with the data from OkCupid showing a 0.92 correlation coefficient between physical attractiveness and the perceived attractiveness of a profile, confirming what a lot of men have recently begun to realize. Physical attractiveness is just as important to women as it is for men. Women just don't admit it. Another thing I think most people aren't aware of is the effect of attractiveness is exponential. The 2011 study, What Makes People Click, Mate Preferences in Online Dating, looked at various traits to see what makes people attracted to each other. The study separated the 22,000 participants' facial attractiveness into deciles of attractiveness, with the top 10% getting separated into two groups, giving the top 5% their own group. To no one's surprise, the study found attractive people were significantly more likely to receive messages and match requests, but the distribution was eye-opening. We see a steady climb in matches and messages as participants get more attractive.
Yeah, and I bet you once you hit the 90 percentile, this shoots straight up. It goes vertical.
Till
Watch.
we get to the top 5%.
Yep. There you go. And the top 5% is confirming what we heard about Tinder, where they released, I remember that latest data set, that it's the 95-5 rule now. It's no longer the 80-20 Pareto principle. So only 5% of men are getting matches consistently at this level. And even then, amongst the 5%, only 2% are having successful dates. Think about this for now. So that means the real percentage is 98-2, not 82. That means the top 2%, man, is successfully going on dates and hooking up with women. What?
Miles above the rest, the top 5% of men dominate in online dating, seen as more than twice as desirable as a 90th percentile man. Data released from OkCupid touts similar, if not even more telling results, showing the exponential effects of physical attractiveness.
Women are willing to share an alpha, and they don't want to share a beta, whatever. They're willing to get cheated on by a rich, handsome, hot dude. They're willing to get abused by a hot dude. They're willing to put up with all the red flags they tell you they don't want in a man because he's a hot dude. Remember, all the little hoops she makes you jump through, she doesn't make this guy jump through any of those same hoops. That guy has no hoops to jump. He walks through the door, slams it shut, jumps on her bed, and she goes to work doing acrobatics. That's the difference. You got to take her out on dinner. You got to pay for drinks. You got to go on multiple dates. You got to wait the 3-day rule, 2-week rule, whatever rule. I don't sleep with a guy for this, that, and the other. But if you're a top 2 percentile man, come over text. No questions asked. That's the reality.
Each percentile makes a bigger and bigger difference the closer you get to the top.
Look at that.
I don't want the takeaway from this video to be that looks are the only thing that matter, because they're not. Another large contributor to a man's attractiveness is his social status. If we look again at the What Makes You Click study, we can see a large contributor to a man's perceived attractiveness is his occupation. Irregardless of a man's individual income, the industry he worked in had a large impact on if women attempted to match with him.
Which is what we know already. We got a guy in our community. I said this in other video. He calls himself the trash man. He owns a trash business. The guy makes tens of thousands of dollars a month. Girls literally get put off when he's on a date and he says that he's the trash guy. He's a trash collector, not knowing that he owns a trash collection business. The guy makes more money than most people, probably pays more in taxes than most people earn in salary. But the moment they hear that, they're turned off. But if he says he's a lawyer only making $60,000, panties get wet. Oh, I'm dating a lawyer. I don't want to date the trash man, even though he's a business owner. Status matters. Looks, status. We already knew this. This is all simple principles that we've been talking about, and it's considered misogynistic to say this out loud. Dual mating strategies, misogynistic. Hypergamy, misogynistic. It's common sense. If you really think about it, watch what's happening in the dating pool, see how women behave differently with certain men depending on how attractive they are. You can see this. It's clear as day.
Is a chart showing the attractiveness of different industries men in the study worked in, and my fuzzy best estimates of the average salary in those industries. As you can see, there's a correlation between the average salary in the industry and the attractiveness of it, but it's certainly not a one-to-one.
You're a lawyer.
Industries like computer engineering, science, government, politics, and financial accounting make a large amount of money, but don't give the men in them much of an attractiveness boost. Industries like firefighting, law enforcement, and military don't make a ton of money, but give the men in them large boosts in their attractiveness. And over here, less attractive than being unemployed are service, hospitality, and
Jeez.
labor. And up here, in the corner, the highest paid and most
Doctor.
attractive career option for men, legal/attorney. Maybe your parents
Okay.
were right about considering law school. Something I've heard discussed a lot over the last few years is how men get better with age while women only get less desirable. And while the former is true, the latter isn't. This is a chart showing the age at which men and women are most desirable to each other at every age. The thing that sticks out the most is that men's preferences don't really change as they age, always being the most interested in women, 22. I think we all knew that, though. Something I don't think most men realize is that the prime demographic they're interested in, 20 to 22-year-old women, are most interested in 21 to 25-year-old guys. That's your peak, guys. It's not your early 30s, and it's certainly not 38. It is worth noting that as a man, you'll receive the most attention from women in general between the ages of 25 to 30.
Yep.
This essentially means men have two primes. A first prime from the ages of 21 to 25, when prime women, 20 to 23, are most attracted to you, and a second prime from ages 25 to 30, when you'll get the most attention from women over.
But remember, if you are in the 98th percentile, if you're the top 2% man, this 25 to 30 should disappear. You could be 40 years old. It doesn't matter. If you have looks and status beyond where a man, let's just say, obviously past 45, bro, it's downhill. You're struggling to keep up. Okay. But even up until 45, if you did a good job on taking care of your body, you will pull a hot 20-year-old, 22-year-old, not a problem, because you're the top percentile. That is more important. So this may be naturally on like a bell curve again, where the average man is aging out. So, 20 to 25 for a man it makes sense that he gets the women in their prime, because they're probably in the general vicinity of, hey, we're going to college together, we're experimenting together, we're a few couple of years of each other working maybe similar jobs in service, hospitality. So that closeness causes women to go for those guys. But in the real world, out in the dating world, you'll see that most of the attractive women in that prime age bracket are dating older dudes 30 plus that have their life together, making money and took care of themselves. That's the reality.
Overall, I think it's also worth pointing out that even women start wanting to date a little younger as they get older. Dating truly is a younger man's game, and despite men seeming to age better in women's eyes than women do in men's eyes, Father Time continues to stay undefeated.
Of course.
Now, there's one more thing in the What Makes You Click study I want to show you. When reading through the study, I found this. The researchers concluded that both men and women's height preferences depend on their own height. Basically, being shorter than a woman will on average make you be seen as significantly less attractive than a man of the same height as her. And in a whole nother...
We already knew that one. Yeah. But the Western woman's delusion today is she could be 5'1", demanding a man be 6'5". It's kind of insane. So yes, it is a bit unrealistic in the West in that sense. But in general, even overseas, or some people that are more humble and grounded, most women will tell you, as long as he's taller than me. If I could put on some heels and he's still taller than me, no problem.
Other category.
Let's go to the next chart.
Although men and women think similar in regards to height, one thing they don't think similar in regards to is divorce. A commonly thrown around statistic is that women initiate 69% of divorces. But here's another stat that makes it even crazier. If we look at the percentage of same-sex divorces that are male-male versus female-female.
Oh yeah, the lesbian ones are the highest. Gay men get divorced the least. It's 20-something%. And then there's straight couples at 50-ish, wherever that number's at. And then you have something like, I think it was 78% for lesbian couples.
We see that female-female relationships are responsible for 78% of same-sex divorces.
Yeah. I haven't seen I just remember these numbers and reading these stats are insane.
Female-female marriages are more common than male-male ones, though. 55-45 split. So we have to adjust for this. After we adjust for the differences in relationship commonality, the relative split of same-sex divorces are 69% women, percent men.
Women are the problem.
Despite men and women not even being involved in each other's relationships, the divorce percentages remain the same. Pretty unbelievable.
Not really. You got the more emotional sex getting together with another emotional sex. gender, whatever you want to call it. And then they get into problems. And there's something, they have a certain term for it where these women meet and then they get married really quickly off of a whim. Can't remember what it was called, but we were talking about it in one of the private calls in the community. It blew my mind. This guy says, I love how sincerity is so unimportant to women. It's probably a turnoff. Yeah, that's why you lie to women when you go on dates. That's why so many men lie to women. They're told to just lie because they don't actually care what you have to say, because clearly the graph shows what they care about. Is he fun? Oh my God. And is he hot? Yes. Okay, cool. You're done. Says the attractiveness/age correlation statistic hides a phenomenon. The most attractive men do peak at 37, but the vast majority of men tank in their 30s, putting on a beer belly and losing muscle, which drives the average curve down. I believe that, yeah. Damn, this was crazy. As a 27-year-old virgin, out of all my 6 best buddies I grew up with, they're all absolute virgins, plus or minus 2 years my age. Everyone with their own place to rent, stable job, and at least 4 of us are not obese. I can tell what led to this, though. None of us ever gained any visible muscle at all, and I wouldn't exactly recommend modeling to anyone either. Most of us work in tech, went to school in tech, studied in tech, so greater than or less than 0 female friends or contacts built over the years. We never went to drinking parties either. We gamed a lot, so even less time spent in public. I think if I actually had to try avoiding women any harder, I wouldn't have done more I could do. Sheesh. I think clueless type of guys like us only avoided extinction historically because we got carried by arranged marriage, honestly. Woo-wee. That's probably a brutal truth. People don't want to talk about it. Yeah, the families used to do all the due diligence for you. Marriage wasn't between people, it was between families. We were combining resources, coming together to increase our children's standing in the world. Times have changed, boys, dramatically. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what your experience with dating apps are. They're absolute trash. And they're a money sink, complete black hole, full of fake profiles, bots, all that stuff. Yeah. If you haven't already, signed up to the private community. We do calls 5 times a week. We just had one this Friday morning, actually, on the stock market and crypto. Interesting to say the least. I appreciate everybody that's been doing private consults and getting some merch too, man. Force the channel directly. Thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.